5th EVE Online Alliance Championships. I'm Kayed. Next I have Ninja Turtle. Say hello.
Hello.
We have the first match of this Alliance Championships is Bloodblind versus the Kadeshi. What we got for Bloodblind, Ninja?
Bloodblind is in red, and it looks like we have 3 ruptures and 6 thorax.
I think Bloodblind actually had a player drop. They had 7 thoraxes, but 1 player's dropped and not returned to the arena. And for the Kadeshi, we have 5 Vagabonds, 2 Kitsunes, and 2 Atrons, I believe.
Atron and a thorax, actually.
Atron and a thorax. The thorax is actually on the wrong side, so that thorax is back. He's on the wrong side for the camera team. Okay, so what we have here is basically a 5 Vagabond setup. Now, we saw that in the last tournament, and it wasn't particularly successful.
Yeah, Roadkill got flattened, actually, by Atlas Alliance last year. A very bizarre setup. And
you see a lot of drones launched immediately there, straight off the bat. And the thing is, they're all ECM drones, as far as I can tell. Well, they're all ECM drones, Hornets and Vespers. Now, what we're seeing here, with the Vagabond setup, 5 of them, the damage output isn't great. But we are fighting Tech 1 cruisers, so if they can avoid damage via the drones, we've got obviously got no snake implants, which is really key to this. No pirate implants allowed, so we won't see high speed.
Right, the snake implants are just very, very important to the Vagabond because it's got very little DPS in comparison to what else is being fielded, and without that speed, it's just a sitting target with its tank.
We are seeing absolutely no damage applied to the Vagabond, to the Kadeshi, the 5 Vagabonds, and we are seeing damage applied to that Rupturer for Bloodblind.
One of the thoraxes is going into shield as well.
Yeah, so they actually split their targets across both the thorax and the Rupture. And of course, what we should have been seeing here, what I expected to see here, was the ECM drones, the horde of ECM drones released from Bloodblind to lock down the opposition ships. This obviously isn't happening because there is damage being spread across 2 different ships on the Bloodblind side.
And no damage dealt to the Kadeshi yet. At
all, yes. If we just get a little bit of a close-up on the main fight in the center there, we can see that the Vagabonds are orbiting at around, I would say around 20k. They've obviously got 220, I would guess anyway. Yeah, they have 220mm Tech 2 with barrage ammo, and they're orbiting around 20k from their targets and just laying down the smack. And it looks to me like, unless they can start applying some damage to these Kadeshi Vagabonds, this is a one-way match.
Yeah, it looks like one of their ruptures is about to drop fairly soon, and another thorax is bleeding into armor.
Okay, we can see that the Bloodblind have sent their drones after the support craft. We see some minor damage being applied now to one of the Kitsunes from the Kadeshi. And if you look at the top left-hand side of the screen, if we could get a close-up on that, the top left-hand side of the screen, you see a horde of drones. And in fact, both support, all 3 frigate support craft are being chased around the screen right now by hordes of drones. Now, these drones are ECM jamming drones. They aren't particularly quick. It looks to me like that Kitsune is easily outrunning them, which means they probably aren't even applying anything. Yeah, that Kitsune is freely able to do whatever he wants because he's not being jammed by those drones. The drones are probably, well, he's just turned, so he's probably about to get jammed now.
And Bloodblind loses a rupture.
1 rupture down. What we've got here, I think, is we're about to see an explosion of those Tech 1 ships because they've moved all of their jamming drones away from the Vagabonds to try and take out and grab those support craft. And so that's going to allow all 5 Vagabonds to start applying damage to those Tech 1 cruisers. And Tech 1 cruisers against 5 Vagabonds worth of damage aren't going to last that long.
And it looks like the Vagabonds have actually yet to start engaging. Yeah, I see no fire coming from them at the moment.
Yeah, this Vagabond is dropped. They've obviously dropped 5 light drones each, I would suggest. If we could just grab the blue drones, have a quick look. Yeah, they're Hobgoblin 2s. We're actually seeing, what we're seeing here, if we get a close-up on Slainmore, we're seeing that the Vagabonds actually aren't using any turret fire whatsoever. They are using only drone damage. And what we are seeing are the Tech 1 cruisers from Bloodblind attempting to kill the drones from the Vagabonds.
And ships are starting to drop now. Bloodblind has just lost another rupture.
And a Vagabond down.
And a Kitsune for a Kadeshi as well.
The Kitsune went a while ago. That Vagabond's just popped, and I didn't even see it go, so it must have gone fairly quick, or he may have dropped. Didn't even see it go. Now we're seeing double damage again. One Thorax for Bloodline is still taking minor fire, and one Rupture. They're both taking shield damage, so the fire has been reapplied.
And it looks like as if one Vagabond is going after a Thorax apiece, but it does not look like anybody can hit them.
That Vagabond's taking armor damage now, and he's going to go down. One of the Vagabonds, actually, after us calling him 5 Vagabonds the entire time, we should know our stuff, is actually a Stabber. Unfortunately, the graphic on here doesn't quite show the big ears enough. Yeah, so it's 4 Vagabonds and a Stabber. My apologies to those that are screaming on the forums right now. It's a Stabber! Okay, that Thorax is entering Hull. So a second Thorax from Bloodline is entering Hull right now. And I would say that unless he can pull something out of the bag, he's going to go down fairly soon.
It doesn't look like Bloodline can do much against Kitsune or Kadeshi's setup. I mean,
I'd like to know what happened to that second Vagabond. I didn't see it going down. Did it drop? Did we get a disconnect? Yeah, we think it dropped. We don't think it took any damage at all. If it did, it was virtually insta-popping, so I didn't see it at all.
It doesn't look like it's going to make much of a difference at this point.
No. I think this could be a very solid win for a 4 Vagabond, 1 Stabber, and a couple of support ship group, which, when we saw this lineup come out, Ninja, we didn't really think that it was going to display such a good performance. We saw it last time. It was so weak DPS-wise.
Right, and it ended up that Roadkill just got run over, and Atlas scored a total hell death on them, and it was it just didn't work.
We got here against Tech 1 cruisers. This wouldn't work, in my opinion. This wouldn't work against a turtle tank. This wouldn't work against 3 battleships and a Guardian or something similar to that. It just wouldn't work. You wouldn't have the DPS from the drones and the Vagabonds together. Right. But against Tech 1 cruisers, it seems to be quite a nice solution.
It's all luck of the draw what you come up against. It can work in theory, and here it has. And it looks like we're about to lose another Thorax with a 3rd entering structure.
Yeah, that's easy. I can't remember the name. Kessa, I think it is. It's going down.
Bloodblind have lost a Thorax and their 3rd entering structure.
And we have the Rupture on Bloodblind side, also half structure. And we haven't seen really any damage applied to the Kadeshi team. We think that Vagabond dropped. We aren't seeing any damage applied to the other 3 ships. They've got a Kitsune. I think it's the one we saw turning into the fire, which obviously is going to cost you dearly. And there goes another Thorax. 5 Thoraxes, 1 Rupture left. No, that was a Rupture, wasn't it? Gone.
Mm-hmm.
This again looks like a good solid win for Kadeshi. It's taking time, of course, because Kadeshi are using small drones to do the damage and using the speed and the maneuverability of the Vagabonds to stay out of firing range, to run away from the drones or turret fire. It's an interesting setup. You know, Kadeshi have gone out there with an intention to keep their ships alive and attempt to use 25 light drones plus some support craft to kill off the other team. Now, as I say, I don't think 25 light drones are going to do something against a very tank-heavy team. But against the Tech 1 cruise team, it looks to have done the business. It
looks like Bloodblind is finally getting some hits off on that Vagabond, but at this point, with Rupture entering structure, I don't think it's going to matter.
He looks to me to be not shield tank, but passive tank with probably a couple of extenders on there. He has plenty of shields.
Final Rupture for Bloodblind has gone down.
5 Thorax left. This is, unless something very strange happens, this is a good solid win for the Kadeshi team.
Yes, it looks like they have it all wrapped up.
Not a total hell death, of course, because they lost some of their own ships, but
right, changes in the rule this year.
Changing the rules this year, yeah. You have to kill everything without losing anything to get the maximum bonus, but they will get the full amount, I suggest, for killing all the Tech 1 cruisers. I'm surprised that Bloodline didn't focus much earlier on killing the drones from the Kadeshi team. What we've seen here is virtually no turret action. And them using their drones. If Bloodline had concentrated very early on killing as many of the 25 light drones as they could, we may have seen a bit of a different match. But it's probably a little bit late for that now.